And if you step back, I think the question we have to ask is this. Is this the most effective, realistic way to prevent Iran from getting a nuclear weapon far into the future? And I think the answer is clearly yes. The alternatives that some talk about, let's squeeze them into submission. Well, that hasn't worked. We tried that before, and they went from 100 centrifuges to 19,000 before we stopped their program. And they have almost enough material to make 10 to 12 nuclear weapons, again, before we stopped them and started to roll them back. And our international partners won't go for that. There's consensus around the world that they shouldn't have a nuclear weapon. There's not consensus that they shouldn't have any kind of peaceful nuclear program. The other alternative, of course, is military action. But we know that while we could set them back by a few years, we would set them back far less than this deal will set them back. And then, of course, they would simply bury the program underground and race to a bomb, because you can't bomb away the knowledge that they have. So that's the premise from which we're operating. This is the most effective, realistic way to prevent them from getting a bomb for many, many years. When some of the requirements are lifted, after 10 years, after 15 years, and beyond, an American president then will have every single capacity that he has now, if necessary, to take action, except we'll know far more about Iran's program. They will have operated under severe constraints for more than a decade, and we will have perfected whatever capacities we have to deal with the situation.
Mike Barnicle.
Mr. Secretary, let's pull on a couple of threads of that answer that you just provided us with. If the Congress gets, well, if the Congress managed to turn this deal down, what restraints, if any, would there then be imposed on Iran? What cooperation, if any, would we, the United States, receive from the P5+1 countries in terms of military action? And what restraints, if any, would there be on imposing sanctions currently underway in Iran?
Mike, I think the answer is pretty clear. If this deal was voted down, and if after a presidential veto, that veto was overridden by Congress, I think all of the restraints that we've achieved with Iran, getting rid of 2/3 of their centrifuges, taking their stockpile from enough for 10 to 12 weapons to enough for no weapons, getting rid of the Iraq reactor as a practical matter, and getting these extraordinary inspections and access, that would all go away. And they would probably start moving to an industrial scale program. Second, this international coalition that we've worked so hard to build up with Congress over the years, that too would go away, because the world is behind this deal. So I think the choice for Congress is pretty clear.
Deputy